Welcome back, everybody. My name is Jason. I'll be your host on this CFL talk show, Hussey's Huddle. In this video, we're going to talk about some notable former NFL players that have signed in the CFL this offseason. But really quickly before we get started, if you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is by hitting that like button or subscribing to Hussey's Huddle for more CFL content just like this. Also, be sure to let me know in the comment section below what videos you would like to see in the future. I plan on doing a lot more of that once things start to calm down, once we get past the draft. And if the season is delayed, I'm going to need some content to fill the time. So I'm going to be taking video suggestions here in the future. So consider doing that as well, or following me over on my Facebook and Twitter accounts. I'd really appreciate it. And with that said, let's get started. So before we start, just a couple of ground rules. Number one is I'm only counting players that have signed with teams here in 2021. So players that signed in the CFL prior to the canceled 2020 season that have yet to make their CFL debuts will not be included in this list. One example is former Buffalo Bills second-round pick Cyrus Kouandjio. And number two, I'm not going to really dive into Martavis Bryant here, since I already have a fully dedicated video on my channel about his signing with the Argonauts. So go check that out after you watch this one. With that said, let's get started. So the first guy I want to talk to you guys about today is wide receiver Kendall Wright of the Toronto Argonauts. The 31-year-old receiver comes to Canada after having a rather respectable career south of the border. He appeared in games across 6 NFL seasons after being selected in the first round out of Baylor in 2012. In 2013, Wright put up his first and only 1,000-yard season. Wright has been out of football since 2017, so it'll be interesting to see if he has any gas left in the tank to contribute to the Argos here in 2021. Next up on the list, we have defensive tackle Dayton Jones of the Montreal Alouettes. Jones, who is now 30, spent 7 seasons, including 2020 in the NFL, after being selected in the first round of the 2013 draft by the Green Bay Packers. The 6'4", 285-pound defensive tackle has produced 82 career tackles and 10 sacks as a pro. Jones looks to add to an Owls interior rotation that includes Almondo Sewell and Woody Barrett. Heading out west for our next selection, we have another receiver, Ryan Grant of the Calgary Stampeders. Another 30-year-old, Grant was a 5th-round pick of the then Washington Redskins in 2014. While never establishing himself as a permanent starter, Grant put up over 1,300 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns during his time in the NFL, while appearing in 80 games. He looks to add to a Calgary receiving corps that has to shoulder the loss of former CFL All-Star Eric Rogers. As I alluded to in my power rankings video, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Stamps use Grant to fill that void in some way. Staying on offense with our next selection, we have quarterback Luke Falk of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Some NFL fans might best remember Falk as one of the quarterbacks that started games for the Adam Gase-led Jets when starter Sam Darnold went down to injury in 2019. Falk looked pretty shaky across those 3 appearances, throwing 3 interceptions while failing to throw a single touchdown. That being said, that was one of the worst situations a quarterback could possibly be in. Only 26, Falk comes to the CFL where the style of the game might better fit his skill set, with bigger windows for him to take more chances that he succeeded with at the college level. Nevertheless, it might be a tough training camp battle ahead with a collection of backups such as James Franklin and Isaac Harker behind entrenched starter Cody Fajardo. The next couple of players I'm going to reveal together, since they likely will be in competition come training camp for a spot, and those are defensive linemen Shane Ray and Coney Ely of the Toronto Argonauts. Ray is a former first-round pick out of Missouri that failed to live up to expectations with the Denver Broncos. His best season came in 2016, where the edge rusher put up 8 sacks and recovered 2 fumbles. After failing to stay healthy over his final years in Denver, the team moved on from Ray, and after an offseason stint with Baltimore in 2019, he has been out of football until signing with the Argos this offseason. Ely, on the other hand, was a second-round pick of the Carolina Panthers in 2014, and though he had a few standout moments in the NFL, he was out of the league by 2018. Ely was having a decent season in 2020 with the XFL's Houston Roughnecks, prior to the league being shut down due to the pandemic. A fun fact about Ray and Ely is that they played against each other in the Super Bowl in 2016, with Ray's Broncos beating Ely's Panthers, though Ely did come away with one hell of an interception in that game of Peyton Manning. And our final player on today's list is offensive tackle Santro Henderson of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I saved Henderson for last because I think he had the most unique NFL journey of any of the players I mentioned in this video. Flying under the radar coming into the NFL despite playing at Miami, Henderson would be selected in the 7th round of the 2014 draft by the Buffalo Bills. The fall likely occurred not because of his ability, but rather because of his 3 suspensions from marijuana possession from his time in college. In the NFL, Henderson immediately proved to be a draft steal, starting in 16 games at right tackle for the Bills. However, after having a largely strong second season in 2015, he would miss the final 3 games of the season after being diagnosed with Crohn's disease. After having surgery on his intestines the following year, Henderson would be suspended for violating the league's substance abuse policy from smoking marijuana, which he later admitted he had used to deal with the pain from the disease and the coinciding surgery. Henderson would serve a couple of short stints with the Houston Texans in 2018 and 2019. However, injuries to his ankle and back derailed his tenure in Houston. Now 29, and after not playing in the league since 2019, he recently signed with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. If he can somehow stay healthy, the Riders may have themselves a very capable backup or even eventual starter at tackle. But that is going to be the end of today's video. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Once again, my name is Jason. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is by hitting that like button or subscribing to Hussey's Huddle for more CFL content just like this. Be sure to let me know in the comment section, guys, if I missed a notable NFL player that has come to the CFL this offseason. I tried to be as thorough as I could, but it's quite possible that I skipped over somebody. So let me know in the comments. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.